Lead in 1, 2, 3. Welcome to the Starting Over Podcast. I'm your host, Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos. This is a show where we look at the strategies, tactics, and mechanics behind the game of heroclix. Yeah, man, the friend, longtime listener on the show today, the fan, the number one fan, the one that keeps me cool during the summer, is back. Yeah, love that white noise, homies. Love that white noise. Today's show is going to be interesting. I'm going to do something before I'm going to go into the review of Elseworlds. I'm going to critique a commentary, and mainly just because you don't have like that reply under the video option that you used to have back in the day. So Jason Collins from Married with Clicks ended up having like an opinion section where he talked about the prime tax and how something is costed. And he was pretty much, I guess he was trying to make an argument that Jakeem is priced the way he is because it's exclusive. You can't play another prime with another prime. And so, because of that, and I'm trying to make sure I understand the argument right, he gets to get away with stuff that normally it would cost way more for him to get away with. And then where I guess he's sort of trying to go is sort of saying, is WizKids going to relook at how that they price primes? And I'm sort of responding to that real brief before we go into the Elseworlds review. In all honesty, Jason, the answer is to hell's no. They're not going to reevaluate how they do primes. And here's the number one reason why. Because they have title characters. They have title characters. They can make the dumbest, brokest stuff. And just say like, oh, look, you only can have one. Hey, man, you only can have one. But you only can have one of this type. Only one of this type. And it allows them to skirt the rules of introducing something that they know is OP that will produce sales. And that's it. I mean, Merc with the Mouth starting off looks like a Gen 1 Prime. Just look at it for real. Like, go look at a first generation Prime. Look at, I think, like Batman set, somewhere around there. Look at your Hushes and all the other stuff. Like, a lot of those figures now, you're like, man, I wouldn't, those aren't primes, those suck. I mean, even if you want to go back and look at Wolverine and the X-Men, like, look at Cersei. Like, you might say, like, nah, man, I'd rather have XYZ other figure, than Cersei. And I know the argument you were making previously was, look, Abensor was a prime, and he was ridiculously cheap, and you could add a construct on him, and he could be stupider than what he was. And he got away with a lot more than what he should, and a lot of people used him. But I think also the other issue with Abensor was a prime that got reduced base stats, who also was a lantern, who got lantern effects on top of that. So I don't even know if they properly costed his lantern effect. Because that comes into the cost. Whatever that magical number is, I mean, there's no way for us to figure that out. But overall, I think that just because something is exclusive, and then all of a sudden WizKids finds out, oh crap, we've made one too strong. I don't think they're going to revisit the numbers and the formula. I think they're going to keep it the way it is. I think what's going to end up happening, they might come back with, oh, in the future we're going to add in another restriction for our pick of powers. And truth be told, the pick of powers just need to be like, here are your three options, you get one of these. That's truthfully, that's all pick of power needs to be from now on. Not like I can pick from the freaking candied rainbow of powers. Like, no, you get one of these. And then you can't get it next turn. That would be balanced pick of power. But, that's it. All right, so, again, I don't try to make this a habit, but I thought it was something interesting, and I thought it would be nice to sort of have like talk back to Jason. He lives in the great America's hat of Canada. So I was going to say white north, but then that makes it sound like it's something that's not. So, all right. So let's get into Elseworlds. Now, I know some of you would probably be like, "Ooh, doggy, what does he got for us this time? What is he going to say about this?" And truth be told, my overall impressions are positive, and you're going to see that as we go through the review. I think the other key element that you're going to keep in mind in me saying this feels like Amazing Spider-Man before War of Light. So buy at your own risk. I'm going to repeat that one more time. This feels like Amazing Spider-Man before War of Light. Buy at your own risk. All right, so let's get crack-a-lacking. All right, so first off, I would say Batman, Superman commons that work with shifting focus. They're fantastical, magical. Okay, they're great. Batman is great because now Batman has access to a perplex that can, do like awesome stuff. Like he could just flat, like buff everybody. Then you have, once he's done doing it, he can shift into something else. And if you look at Yellow Jacket, who is exactly the same cost point of 60 points, who can pick a different stat on each friendly character, this is just overall more functional because Yellow Jacket really can't attack. And Batman can turn into a 12 attack, 3 damage monster when he's done. So, yeah, Batman. Superman, he just fits in the shifting focus Superman pile. He's got the nice, lovely Indom on there, just flexing the leap, climb, and quake with precision strike. Even more silly. I think with all of the new rules, this one is definitely someone to look at for your shifting focus builds. Now, I will also say, I know people will get slightly annoyed that they're going to have 3 or 4 of these, after opening up random boosters. I kid you not, just save your money, people, and buy singles. Save your money on this set, buy singles. Do not buy bricks, do not buy cases, just buy singles. Okay. Alright, so let's keep on moving on. Next up, you might say, like, well, do you like Wonder Woman Dark Logos? No, I don't. I don't like the common Wonder Woman because when you compare it to your Justice Rider Wonder Woman, actually, is that the Justice? No, that's not the Justice Rider Wonder Woman. Yeah, when you compare it to the Justice Rider Wonder Woman, I get so much more out of the Justice Rider Wonder Woman than I do the 70-point I'm Mystical Wonder Woman. And I know some people will also say, like, hey, look, she has some, cool stuff, that she can do. But really, she's just a cheap brick that's 5 clicks of health. There are better bricks in her, like that 70 to 90 range. And even if you want to say that 50 to 75 point value range, there's better characters. Now, if you're looking for, like, somebody that's a cheap mystical, that's a brick to try to deter people, from shooting it or whatever, that's fine. Jakeem gets 1 perplex, he one-shot pulse waves her. No team ability goes off. That's why I really don't like her. She's a brick with no invuln or invincible, nothing that keeps her alive long enough, I feel, to be useful. I think she just gets murked from downfield and you wasted your 70 points. For 5 more points, I can have Goblin King. Now, I know some people would say, that's not fair, Dark Logos, that's a super rare and this is a common. And I'm like, fine, I understand. But with the price drop in Goblin King, really, like, he's affordable now. He's affordable. So you have to start looking at things in that price range. And realistically, Wonder Woman does not come up to snuff or offers anything unique or valuable in that price range. Alright, the Flash. Yo, homie, get this Flash. This Flash is great. 45 points, 19 D, 10 attack, 14 movement, 3 damage. Yeah, he's not as high damage output as his 8 version, but when you combine the PD team ability with everything else, yeah, this dude is a beast. This dude is a beast. No pun on the 8 version. He's great. Yeah, he can easily die. No, I understand that. There are some figures that he works really well with. There's a Magneto from Uncanny X-Men that's able to give energy shield, so he can approach a lot safer. Not only that, I would not put a resource on him at all, but if you are playing Golden Age, him with any hammer is redonkulous. Then the best thing I could also say is, like, when you combine the PD team ability with everything else, if he's not attacking, he is useful for your range teams. He can be carried in, or he can run the heck out. 14 movement, hypersonic speed is nothing to sneeze at. So definitely get this Flash. Don't get like 2 or 3 of them, but just get the Flash. You just need one. All right, next up, I'm going to give hype out to the Gunfighter, just because it's a very nice low point, actually functional attacker. He's not going to change the world, but he can be annoying to your opponent when all of a sudden their little support dudes getting hit for like 10-2. Now I know some people will say, like, hey, wouldn't he just get waxed really fast? Yeah, thank you, 25 point protected. That, you came in to go and snipe a Gunfighter. Yay, thank you. Yeah, so anyway, I like the Gunfighter. Now, I know some people would say, what do you think about the Super Police and the Supermen? They're okay. They're not the best. I don't really see much use for those. Now, I'm gonna say this. High Noon is pretty much a balanced taunt. It's a balanced taunt. So I'm going to lump Diana Prince, Justice Rider, Kid Flash, Justice Rider, and John Jones, Justice Rider, all together as saying, get these because they're good, and they're going to be good in the future. Now, you might be saying, like, why are they going to be good in the future? In particular, John Jones, I feel, is the most use of being good in the future, mainly because he has High Noon with Shape Change. Okay? So, not only does your opponent have to, that character that got hit have to target John Jones, Justice Rider, they also have to get through Shape Change. So, I really, really like that. Not only that, he has plasticity, so he can tie up figures, and then he also has Always Get My Man at the beginning of the game. Choose an opposing character. If John Jones, Justice Rider, would get a second action token while adjacent to the chosen character. Instead, he doesn't get an action token. So, you just sit there. Now, you take your action. Now, here's the cool thing about this. There is nothing that says that you get to clear. Okay, so you can just keep this up. Like, and I know your opponent would eventually be like, all right, well, I got to go punch this dude. Because he either keeps getting adjacent with the plasticity becoming annoying, or he keeps shooting me and I have to shoot John Jones. So, I really like that. Kid Flash, of course, High Noon, hypersonic speed. I mean, come on. How much more stupid can you get? For Diana Prince, Justice Rider, just look at those damage values. And then in Dom, 10 attack, 4 damage, plus the leadership. When you combine all that, why would I want the other number 3 Wonder Woman? I don't. I'd rather have her. I'd rather have the Justice Rider Wonder Woman. She's far superior in every way. I like the old-fashioned women. So there you go. Insert joke there. All right, so keep sort of rolling on. I think, did I skip it? Yeah, let me go back real quick to number 4, Green Lantern. I feel that this is the taxi that the meta will be grateful for in 3 months. This dude is stupid. There are a couple of other good taxis in the set, but this one by far is the most broke for the functionality. JLA team ability plus Green Lantern team ability. He's 5 clicks deep. I understand. I don't really like the fact that he's 5 clicks deep, but when you look at him from a transport, that's about standard. He is more expensive than your average transport, but he carries 8 people. So when we start looking at Pog game, when we start looking at incorporating these like little tiny characters, oh yeah, Green Lantern gets everybody in there. He brings the party. Green Lantern functionally shrinks the board because he's able to reposition the entire force in an aggressive manner, and because he has phasing. And not only that, he can be like, hey man, I carried everybody. After I carry everybody, or even before, I roll my D6, boom, I got a 5 or 6. I either have 1 or 2 people pop off and do something. So I really like that. It allows not just Captain America Chase to be, one of the handful of characters that's able to act after Taxi. Now you can have pretty much any character that can be carried by Green Lantern can act after Taxi. And I think that's great. So, yes, you have to roll a 5 or 6, but it can be prob until new rules for prob comes out. So enjoy it while you got it. All right, so we're gonna fast forward a little bit. Now, this Superman is probably one of the best Supermans that you can call in for an ID. It is number 15. He pretty much says, "I plead guilty, Your Honor." If he whacks somebody and KOs them, then he takes a click. But his values up front: 12 charge, 11 attack, 4 damage, impervious. It's just great. So what if he murders somebody when you call him in? He's stupid good. I'll take that. Again, I am emphasizing, I'm looking at these figures as like the Amazing Spider-Man before War of Light. Okay, so I'm just saying, somebody's gonna come back and listen later and it's like, oh, these figures aren't that good, Dark Logos. Why didn't you warn us? Why didn't you see with your all-seeing eye that this is what was coming? And I, hey. Anyway, and let me actually make that clearer because I said before War of Light. That's my bad. Yeah. Let's say Amazing Spider-Man before Slosh, because that was a huge game changer. Yeah, that's a better way of putting it. Yeah, Amazing Spider-Man before Slosh. Okay, all right. So let's keep going. Next up is number 17, Green Lantern. This is a 4-starter to get the most benefit out of him, i.e. you can't use him with ID cards. But functionally, I feel that he is probably one of the strongest figures in the set. Running Shot, Pulse Wave, TK, Energy Shield Deflection, Indom, Flight, Energy Shield Deflection on his first 3 clicks, 10 attack, 3 or 4 damage. If he gets hit, he goes into a 2 base damage with RCE, with a 9 or 10 attack with Barrier and Sidestep. He is a great secondary attacker / utility. He is He is the second best utility support attacker in the game. The number 1 is Goblin King. This is number 2. And you're going to say, well, Dark Logos, why is he number 2? Well, because on average, if we look at our cost, if you're going to play Sunfire, that's 50. And if you're going to play Mercury, that's 25. That's 75 points. And you're not getting Indomitable between either of those. And so pretty much what you've done is you've merged the function of Mercury and merged the the function of Sunfire into Green Lantern and then just sort of made it a bit better from a stat perspective. The Justice League team ability, great. Definitely in a meta where you have tons of pieces. You know, if you shift to playing a lot of little guys, that free move not counting towards your action pool is going to matter. Okay, so definitely is a must play. Number 2 support figure in the game right now. Quote me on this. Green Lantern. All right. Next up is number 18 Flash. Now, I know some of you might say, like, hey, man, this Flash has less movement than the other Flash. Same clicks of life. The only thing I'm sort of getting is, some super senses. And he's got one less defense. Why am I playing this guy? Why should I even look at this guy? And the only reason is the trait, in that he can just pop over and say, like, once per game, oh, that shot that's about to happen, oh, I'm outside of this pulse wave radius. Oh, I'm gonna bamf over there and stop that pulse wave. Oh, you're about to shoot my buddy there. Oh, I'm gonna pop over there and stop that. Oh, you're gonna have to shoot me this turn and be aggressive. Okay, cool. I'm gonna pop over there and stop that ranged attack. Like, him as a call-in is probably one of the best defensive options in the game if you know that aggression is coming. So I definitely would say do not discount this figure. It is a figure that you really, really should try to get your hands on. All right, let's keep going. I like Necron, the Bat God, but that's just my play style. So just take it as you will. All right, just take it as you will. I want to make a quick note on Chiquita Wagner because I like Planetary. Is it accurate? Yes. Good figure for this game? Not really. So I think she's nice. I think she has a lot of good stuff, but for where the game is going, I don't think she's useful. Definitely with the hypersonic speed and super strength. Yeah. So if this was 2 years ago, she would be beast mode. Everybody would be playing her. Right now, no. She's not. She doesn't carry enough for her point values at 80. All right. Let's keep rolling. I'm on a mixed bag on the number 27 Superman. He's okay. If you want to get one, I can understand why you want to get one. But I definitely would not, go out of my way to get one. If one falls in your lap, then just enjoy it. That's the best thing that I can tell you. All right. Next up is Green Lantern of Gotham. And I know some people might say, hold up, wait a minute. That doesn't make sense. Because that guy should be trash. And I'm like, hold up. Let's unpack this a little bit. He starts off with running shot, 11 attack, Indom, 18 defense, energy shield deflection, and outwit. Now, he doesn't get to say, hey man, I can see through stealth. I fully understand that. I think this guy is going to be great for larger point games, like your 500 point to your 1,000 point and up games. Next, he has all this power limited by my will. When Green Lantern of Gotham has 2 action tokens, he can use barrier as a free action until your next turn. So I really, really like that little bump there. And of course, he has the Emerald Knight. Like I said, he gets phasing, running shot, and stealth. Now, why am I sort of hyping this figure? For those who never lived during the Green Lantern tank eras, good for you, buddy. You didn't have to live through Green Lantern carrying pretty much his entire squad and using trick shot to shoot through all of them to hit you for absurd amounts of damage. Okay, and so when I look at Green Lantern of Gotham, I immediately think load him up with 3 Henrys and watch him run around the field and just shoot people, run the stealth, shoot people, run the stealth. He could carry 2 Hydra characters, and there's really not much that your opponent can do to stop him. Now, you would say, it's like, well, Dark Logos, his running shot would be 3. And that's fine that his running shot would be 3. But, hey, he has a 7 range that gives him a 10 swing. But on certain maps, he's just going to be strong. Because, if there's enough hindering terrain, then you can't see him. And so then you have to come and base him and do all this other stuff. And if you try to base him, he can just be like, yo, I'm out, dog, phasing. Boom, second action token. Put up barrier for a free action. What's up with that? So not only could he protect himself, but he also can cage another character. So at 105, I definitely must say, this character is good. Is he S-class meta good? No. He is a high point game figure where he can carry around all the support plus benefit from the support. So that's why I really like him. Next up is Green Lantern of Krypton. Now, I'm sort of bringing him up as like, I want to say like the complete opposite. But he has some utility, and his stats aren't functionally as good. But to me, here's where the advantage comes in. He can carry, use the Green Lantern ability. He comes in at 2-point values, 125 and then 100. Now, I personally think if you're going to play him, you could easily play him at 100. But I think most people are going to play him at 125. And this is one of the few times where I definitely am going to say, like, yeah, the higher point value is better for that extra 25 points. His damage output isn't that wonderful, but he does get prob on his attack. So I do like that. Next figure is the Ray. I like the Ray and I don't like the Ray. I like the Ray because from a stat and point perspective, the Ray is strong. But when you look at the Ray directly, you start to see a lot of his weaknesses. His first major weakness is that you can't really pump up his damage. So he's sort of stuck with that 4. And that sucks. His movement is great. But again, you're combining it with an 11 attack with the running shot. So I can't complain about the Ray directly. But the only thing I can say is the Ray is good for newer players looking to learn the basics of a range game. Because the Ray lets you hedge your shots until you figure out what is the best shots to take, or the types of characters you want to take shots against on average. That's why I like the Ray. All right, next up is Green Oracle. I like Green Oracle because she's a different type of taxi, mainly because she gives you Green Lantern team ability plus Justice League. So those two are together in the phasing, just like Green Lantern, but she gives you Perplex up front in a 7 range. Now, her stats aren't that beast, okay? But she does have a Perplex that allows her to be useful. So if, all your other, figures are tokens, she can Perplex up her attack to 10 and take a shot for 3. So that is respectable. So Green Oracle is definitely a figure to look out for. Next up is a figure I pulled in the sealed, which is the Drummer. I think the Drummer has a place in how we play. Now, here's why I say that. He comes in at 10 points. He can use Outwit or Perplex. And he has the reading the information flow once per turn when an opposing character within range and line of fire would use Outwit, Perplex, or Probability Control during their turn. You may choose that instead that opposing character can't use that power this turn. Now, I feel like that's great because it allows you to say to your opponent, you have one prob. Until you kill this figure, as long as I have line of fire on your prob, you're not going to get to prob. And I think that combined with the ability to pick Outwit or Perplex allows him to come in and start shake things up because he is a very, very mild control. You know, he's like the picante. You know, he's like the picante sauce. You're not getting salsa. You're getting like chopped up tomatoes and cilantro and some vinegar and crap. You know, you're not getting anything hot. You know, you're not getting anything that's like, oh my gosh, caliente. You know, you're not getting anything like that. You're like, oh, okay, I like the flavor of this. I can put this on my salad. You know, I could put this, with my taco. I could put this, on my burrito. I can take it home. Show the wife and kids. Give it to them. The baby's gonna love this. So I definitely think the drummer is good. Question is will people pay the points to get that extra 4 range on their Perplex and Outwit? All right, we're gonna keep going. And just for a brief moment, I like Colonel Batman. Colonel Wayne. Sorry, Colonel Batman. I really do like Colonel Wayne. He has a lot of great elements with him. He's a lot of great elements with him. I think that my main problem. Well, actually, I'll take that back. I think my main problem with him is that I almost want him to do more than he should up front. But the fact that he's 75 points in 7 Clicks of Life, and he has the ability to see through stealth with a running shot only, not for like any other shenanigans. He has the high noon trait, and he can bring in the freaking bird. You can't really hate it. You can be frustrated with it, but you can't hate it. And so I think that he becomes one of those core figures that you play with Peace Machine. I really do think that. Now, I know some of you might say, like, hey, wouldn't, he just get murked? And I'm like, nah, he won't. He won't just get killed. Your opponent would have to dump 3 attacks into him if Peace Machine is still on the field. Plus, he has good powers overall. Not the best stats, but good powers overall. So I really like it. Something that we definitely should look at. And again, in sort of a similar note, but not exactly, I like Colonel Wayne. Sergeant Kent. But at the same time, he's not that great. But I like where they're trying to go with them. Yeah. Next up is Al Jordan. And Al Jordan, I think this is what people were hoping, that Al Jordan would be the Goblin King of this set. And he's very underwhelming. Like, ridiculously underwhelming. And I know some folks will say, like, but Dark Logos, man, he has pick a power and it's traded, so you can't mess with it. And I'm like, yeah. And then you're going to be like, well, Dark Logos, he also can pick his size. Yeah. In Dark Logos, he has a Mega Perplex. Yeah, but I don't think it's enough. Not at 90 points. Not when he's 5 clicks deep. Not when he starts off with a 10 attack. The Indom is nice. The fact that he can fly is nice. His 7 range is nice. Okay? I can't complain about his combat abilities. And the fact that he functionally can, just about access any combat ability. Where I do feel the issue comes in is that you have to wait for certain combos to come up for him to start doing things sideways that he shouldn't do. Okay, so here's the example. You play Elijah Snow, and Elijah Snow's like, look, man, if you don't fly, you can't move the way you want to move. And it's like, ha, 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 ha. So then the entire time with Al Jordan, you're like, man, okay, I fly. All right, so you specifically built around that. So you could fly. All right. Then you have another situation where it's like, well, I need to get Al Jordan out of here. I'm going to make him tiny. Okay, so anybody can carry him. And you can play all sorts of weird leapfrog things with Al Jordan. Okay, great. All right. Next, you can say, oh, look, I have a weird theme team using, mystical people that are Atlanteans, and I have somebody that boosts characters that can use the dolphin symbol. Okay. All right, great. Now he's going to do something that he shouldn't do. All right. That's where I feel Al Jordan comes in and does something interesting. That's where I feel like, oh, wow, he's about to mess things up. The fact that, he can perplex up himself and up one of his stats, and if he keeps perplexing himself up, he can be a 12 attack 3 damage, or a 10 attack 5 damage, or a 9 movement, or a constant, 21 defense. He can be that, but at the same time, he's too expensive for being a perplex plus TKer plus attacker. He's for his stats, he's just too expensive. He's not really a hard or really solid control with his perplex, and I feel like you're either trying to be too slick and focusing too much on him and what he needs to do because you invested almost a third of your team into him, or you're just going to forget that he can do certain things and then just move on. And I think the biggest thing people are going to forget about him being able to do is the perplex. And that's probably his biggest selling point beyond the pick of power. And so when I look at it all, I can't fully recommend Al Jordan, but I understand why people want to play him and why people look at him and why he might go for more than $25. But I really can't recommend Al Jordan at all. Anyway, keeping it moving. From an amusement standpoint, I like Sinestro. Not that he's great or good or anything, I just like him. So just take that as you will. I think he's going to be a very interesting piece. Not a game changer, just interesting and fun. Alright, next up, let's talk about Green Lantern, because I know that she is a mixed bag. And yeah, she's a mixed bag. There's some people that look at it like this. If you're building a tactic around my characters, if you build a tactic around your characters dying, you've already lost. At the other end, if you build a team where you know that your characters are very soft, she's not bad. Is she zombie, level good? Not really. So let's break down the trait and then go into it. One last earthly mission. When another friendly character is KO'd, place a resurrection marker in a square they last occupied. This includes Pogs people. Give Green Lantern a free action when she is adjacent to a resurrection marker. You may choose the name of a friendly character with a with a point value of 10 or more. Okay, so you can pick up a Pog person that's 10 or more points that has been KO'd and hasn't yet been chosen this game. Okay, replace the resurrection marker with a KO. With a KO character with that name, and give Green Lantern an action token, if possible. Nope, it says if possible. So if you move to get over there, you don't really pay a token for that. I'm just saying. Turn the KO character to any click. Also, too, if you have two, if the stuff by you keeps dying, and you already have 2 action tokens, then you technically just res the person again for free. Just saying. Turn the KO character to any click it hath been. It says click it have been on. Sorry, click had it. I would say it had been on, but it have been on this game. At the beginning of your next turn, remove the character from the game, but don't score it. So pretty much you're able to say, like, well, let me bring up, Resurrect Sphinx on his God click and let him, pop off. That's pretty much what you're saying. Let me bring him back on his God click. Now, here's the thing that they need to make a clear ruling on. That you're bringing back a character no higher than its starting points. Okay? So here's the example that I would like to give. I play KC Superman, or KC Spectre, it's more realistic, at low points. My opponent comes in, kills KC Spectre. I put my little, tombstone marker there. Bam. Following turn, my Green Lantern phases over, and she's like, Spectre, I know you went to go be with God once again, but come back. And so Spectre comes back, and he's like, what sort of witchcraft is this? And you're like, Spectre, I need you to be on click 1. And then he's like, oh, I'm on click 1. Blast you with energy. Now I know that's not the worst option, but there are a ton worse. Green Goblin on 275, freaking Galactus or insert Mega Death level Colossal here on a level higher than they came in on. There's a ton of examples in which this needs to be very, very clear, because as it is right now, it just says turn the KO character any click it had been on this game. So I'll take it back slightly. I can see some weirdness happening. Definitely. Well, let's take the Spectre example. If you were able to convert Spectre into an attacker because someone crit hit on your force, I can see then there being some weird arguments made, because now you're on a different dial. And then another question would be, if you're on click 1 and someone hits you, straight to, like, let's just say click 5, you were never on 2, 3, or 4. So how would that work? So anyway, I'm probably just making it overcomplicated than it should be, but it's just some little side thoughts. Overall, I like her. I think she's going to be interesting. She's a B+ meta character on a bad day. She could turn some tides, but I don't think she's going to be on your next World Championship team unless you can allow her to do something like become a good taxi, be able to, utilize some other mechanics just because of her point cost. So I see her being very, very limited. The 4 clicks of health is also a little discouraging, but it is what it is. She can be easily killed. You know, she just can't res herself. Alright, so let's keep going. Now, I know some people do not like the super rare Diana Prince, and that is fair. That is more than fair. If I pulled it as a super rare, considering all the other super rares that you could pull, I can understand how people would be mad. So, fully getting it. Alright, but when I look at, you know, some of her potential here, there's some cool stuff that she can do. First off, she can use support at a 10 attack, and she also can use close combat expert. So, and again, like in a 300 point game, I can't see her as a medic. In a 500 point game, I can see her as a medic. Definitely if you don't have Night Nurse. She has very respectable values for support. And then she also can attack, so she's not relegated to purely support. Her last click with her swords manifested from my wristband silliness, yeah, that's pretty cool. That's all I can say. It's not the best figure, it's not the worst figure, it's okay. Next up is King Aquaman, a figure that, for a character that only showed up for literally like 2 pages, I don't really see how you can make a character out of him, but the Ray shows up for like 7 panels, so, in a cover, I think, so, okay, cool. Overall, I gotta say this. Is this a bad Aquaman? No. It's not a bad Aquaman. Is this a good Kingdom Come figure? Meh, for the points. Yeah, for the points. Is this character good in the game? Not really. I mean, if he could pick up a heavy up front with that exploit, yeah, I would say definitely watch out for him. But as he is now, he's casual friendly. I give him a B- figure. Is he worth your super rare? You know, if you're herp-derping at locals, yeah. I mean, I can't discount the fun factor that can be had with him. But at the other end, if you look at the chases, all the chases outclass him and come back, and a couple of them just come back and say, "Hey, Arthur, get back in the water. I told you, you can't leave the water." Boom. And he gets wrecked. I think Wonder Woman wrecks him really hard too, but still. I like what he does. I really wish he had something like wonky, like ruler of Atlantis. You know, he has like leadership and outwit. You know, so that he actually can start jacking with the other Kingdom Come people slightly. Or at least give me a Luther with outwit with Kingdom Come. That way we have somebody that can jack with these figures directly. You know, so King Aquaman, like I said, fun. Just fun. Let's talk about Elijah Snow. And, oh man, I might actually fit a whole set review into 1 hour. And I actually talked about a good chunk of it. Let's talk about Elijah Snow real quick. I feel Elijah Snow is never worth 120 points. Never. If someone tells you otherwise, at the current game state, they are crazy. It's not worth paying 120 points for outwit or perplex, barrier, in-cap, and sidestep. Even if it's triple target in-cap. Unless Stunning Blow, or something better than Stunning Blow, or some character that comes in and makes every character with in-cap drop 2 action tokens on their target. You know. Unless that happens, then I'm sorry. Him at 120 is dumb. Dumb. Bad idea. Waste of points completely. Alright. Now, if we look at him at his lower point value, at 70 points, this is stupid. This is beyond stupid. This is This is like, hey man, I give you $5 just because stupid, okay? Because it's a Tuesday. All right, now let's start breaking that down. Why I say that? Well, when we look at the point cost, we're looking at 70 points. He's able to constantly be useful. First off, on his starting click, he has barrier, so he has a 8 range barrier. That's really, really, really far. That's really far. That's 8 ranges in which he can cage a character. So if he's not pulse waving, and he's like, oh yeah, like that guy there, caged. Do what y'all need to do. What you need to do, Superman and Batman. I'll cage these guys. All right. Okay, so not just busting line of fire up for your opponent's prop or perplex, but like legit, like just grounding and containing, your opponent's non-flyers on outdoor maps and flyers and indoor maps. That is huge. If you're able to contain a Jakeem Thunder for 2 turns, yeah, you got more than your points worth. Okay, so right there, winning. Okay, running shot, pulse wave. You're not running shotting far. I'm not pretending that you are. Okay, but again, what's the number one power that you need in the game right now? And it's pulse wave to get past half this jank. So you can hurt a Jakeem, or you can hurt a Goblin King, or hurt a number of characters. No, people, I'm not saying he's going to go out there just slaying people like he's the chosen one. No, that's not happening. All right? But if we're going to be real about it, and I do mean real, with 2 snaps and twist, okay? Going back to the Living Color days, all right? This is sort of scary because he has respectable attack and respectable damage values. I'm not saying that he's in auto hit land, but he is in average attack, average damage land with a good level of control on that first click. That first click is straight butter. His second click, just as good as his first click, except he does more damage. Click 5, click 6, and click 7, he cranks out 4 clicks of damage. He just ups his damage. So, you would think, like, if someone told me, like, hey, man, take the power set, not the stats, take the power sets of Elijah Snow and put it on click 1, put all in the first half of the dial, and put that other jank on the back half, would I still be talking the same tone? No, I wouldn't. I'd be like 120... for a running shot, 11 attack, 3 damage, pulse wave, 18 defense, barrier. Yeah, I would do it. With leadership, yeah, I would do it. And I haven't even talked about leadership. Under new rules, automatic additional 1 action token for the game. I mean, this, and I haven't even gotten into his traits, people. And I know some folks are like, he's not good. He's not that great. He's a waste of points. Blah, blah, blah. Functionally, in a skilled player's hands, not freaking Joe Blow, or Jenny down the block, old Jenny down the block, not new Jenny down the block. New Jenny down the block got money. Old Jenny, yeah. Anyway, if we look at the traits, the big freeze, once per game, give Elijah Snow a free action for the rest of the game while Elijah Snow is on the map. Other characters that can't use a flight ability can only move in a direct path. Now, this doesn't mean I can move forward, then left and right. It's like, no, homie, you only can move forward. You can't freaking zigzag your way through. Okay? You can't go on a diagonal. That's not a direct path, according to the game rules. So you're stuck either going, north, south, west and east. Okay? So then, there's that. So automatically, you get to control when that goes down. So you can just deploy all your non-flyers and just be like, yeah, this is about to happen now. Y'all in position. Freaking alchemist clap that sucker and call down the rain and the snow. And you just yell to Thor, you might be the god of thunder, but I'm the master of the elements. Okay. Then you have chilling your bones. Give Elijah Snow a free action and choose one that hasn't been chosen yet this game. Power, close, range, or move. Until your next turn, when an opposing character is given an action of the chosen type, after actions resolve, give that character an action token. If you don't, deal them one unavoidable damage. Turn. If I go first, and I know I'm facing an overdrive team, I know it's coming. I'm like, okay, so he's got an overdrive team. You know, I think I can jump him if I can get to click 2. You know, if I can get to click 2, I mean, if I get to turn 2, I can jump him. But I gotta wait until turn 2. If he's up on me on his first turn, I'm gonna have a problem. Okay, so if he passes halfway mark, I might have a problem. But if I can get here, then I know I got him. Okay, all you have to do is just be like, first genie of the lamp wish, punish freaking move actions. Oh yeah. What have you just said to overdrive and the charged up? Okay, overdrive makes the charged up, gets inside the vehicle, then the vehicle moves. It'll take a token, then an additional token, and then boom, overdrive pops out. And he'll roll and take damage. Okay. Yeah, your opponent's in position, but they can't then easily just get on top of you again. Now, overdrive is out. Now it's your turn. You're like, oh, snap. Energy explosion, that sucker. And I'm going to kill overdrive if this lands. Just magical genie powers. Okay. Oh, my opponent is clear? And they're going to summon a stupid level ID card on top of me? Psst, nope. Power action. Shut that stuff down. You know, like, well, not shut it down. Like, I'm going to punish them for doing it. It's going to be a while before they do that again. Oh, you're going to shoot me, and then you can shoot me again next turn and in the game. And, nope. Shut that down. You're going to shoot me once, and you're going to get another token. You know, there's a lot of punishment. There's a lot of punishment that you can do. And I know some people say it like, this is the new Faust. It's not the new Faust. Faust says you can't play. You can still do whatever you want to do with Elijah Snow. But Elijah Snow says, I know what you're about to do. I'm going to punish you. Freaking just Full Metal Alchemist transmute that stuff. Okay. So that's an issue. All right, so let's go on to the chases. Batman's trash. You already know Batman's trash. I don't need to tell you that. Robin is interesting because of the Bat Cycle and the Batwing. In particular, for me, I think that the Batwing is the most useful, even though I don't think the stats are right for this. Okay, for some reason never mind, the Bat Cycle is. Because at first I thought it's like the Batwing should have had the flight symbol, and it doesn't. That... okay. Yeah, I think they messed that up. I hope they are out of this. I really do. Anyway, so you have the Bat Cycle, and it's going to give you running shot, and it's going to give you shape change and energy shield deflection. Now, why is this probably one of the stupidest things that you can have? Well, let's just say this. How many characters do you wish had running shot? Okay? With their stats or whatever. Then take it the next step. how many characters you wish could also have shape change. Okay? So, all of a sudden, now, I can go in, put in my pilot guys, and be like, hey, man, my pilot has a 7 range, 10 attack, 5 damage, because it's heroclix. Now he can go running shot inside of a bike with his 8 range. Whatever. Okay, so that automatically, is a game changer. Because, you're paying 45 points for this Robin. And this Robin just kicks back and is like, check me out in my funky clothing. And I have the Batman TA. I like clapping this episode. I don't know why. I have the Batman TA for my wild cards. I've got support for, healing everybody up. And then you have the Dark Knight Returns, get seen and you're fired. When Robin occupies clear terrain, she can use shape change. And when she occupies Henry terrain, she can use perplex, but only target another character occupying Henry terrain. There is a lot there. There's a lot there. Is she valuable? Yes. Is she useful? Yes. Is she probably one of the better support figures that we've had in the last few, months? I would say top 25, not top 10, definitely not top 5, but definitely top 25, and that means something. That definitely means something in the game right now, because the amount of utility that she offers, while unique and quirky, is a lot. That in depth, it's a lot of stuff compounded down into a small point value. Is she murdering people? No. Can she shoot people? Yes, if she's really, really forced to. Can she get the hell out of Dodge? Yes. And that's the most important thing. The end dial enhancement is alright, but I don't really care about that. Okay, let's talk about the elephants in the room here. Green Arrow and Superman. Let's first talk about Green Arrow, then we'll talk about Superman. Green Arrow is by far broken. You can listen to any other commentator and they'll tell you how strong he is. The fact that he can just eliminate anything that's in the defense slot just says, oh yeah, that doesn't exist. Outside of super senses and ESD is a very, very disturbing element. Now, you could easily say, wow, at least he's balanced. He can't ignore super senses. And I'm like, check out the chase from Avengers Defenders War, the Punisher, something Alvarez, whatever chick. She'll give him precision strike. Now that problem is gone. Okay? So you just have to deal with ESD. Oh, did I forget that I had a 12 attack and range combat expert, so I can functionally get a 15 attack, which makes almost any other defense, except for like the absurd 23, which I don't even think is possible to get now, actually formidable? Yeah, you already see, like, he's an auto hit. Just about an auto hit. So there's a lot of things to be concerned about with Green Arrow. The fact that he can't be targeted, if he's so many squares away, unless you're within so many squares of him, the fact that he has improved targeting, ignores everything except blocking. He is by far one of the most imbalanced characters designed. And he wouldn't be bad if ID cards didn't exist. Because the fact that he can only make a ranged combat attack when he has no action tokens, which means he's forced to do melee attacks when he has action tokens, and it's like Big Whoop, okay? But if you look at it like that, are you overpaying for Endom? Maybe not, because you might have to freaking get the heck out of Dodge and run over to wherever to stop from getting liquidated by, a charging soups or something. But when we look at this, you're not going to see him played as a standard figure 99.9% of the time outside of Seal. he is going to be probably one of the most broken call-ins that you can bring in to rally your game. And that means a lot. Let's look at Superman real fast. I feel Superman, and having pulled one and selling one on eBay right now, Superman at 230 in a 300-point game is too expensive. He has a lot of mechanics that allow him to just keep momentum. In multiple cases in the Seal game, what ended up happening is like, oh yeah, I have 2 tokens. Let me roll to see if I get a token removed. Oh, okay, cool, I get a token removed. Now I'm going to bash you over the head with my charge. Okay, cool, that just happened. You do whatever you do on your turn. Oh, it's my turn again. Did I roll? Okay, I roll, I get a token removed. I had that happen where I removed a token 2 turns in a row, and that pretty much just wiped my opponent. Because functionally for 4 turns, I just came in and deleted figures. Now, in 300 points, does Superman just come in and punch Jakeem? Does he hurt a 175-point Goblin King? Does he pose a threat to some of the 200-point value Colossals or anything like that? At first glance, you would say yes, but the truth of the matter is no. He doesn't. And here's why I'm going to say he doesn't. First off, and I'm just making clear at 230. At 230, while being 9 clicks deep, you don't have enough backup with him. And because of that, it puts you in a tough situation heading towards the mid-game if you whiffed at all. You need to be deleting people every turn. And there's enough things in the game that, can make that 10 attack a 10 attack. And there's nothing stopping that from happening with him. And I think that's something to actually be mindful of. The next thing that comes up where I feel he's balanced but he's still a problem, he has an absurd range, which if you start combining him with ID cards and you combine him with Jean Grey, he can do some silly stuff and call in some figures that are one-man armies by themselves to do some silly stuff that turn. But at the same time, again, you're still having that action problem. But when we start looking at the lower point value of Superman, we start looking at that 110 value. As a standard character, we're not really getting as much. But as a call-in, we're getting a beast. 12 attack, 4 damage, can pick up a heavy, coming here shortly, ultra heavy in the short term. And he just comes in and kills things. And functionally, I look at that, and the only thing I could sort of say is, wow, that's a lot of burst damage. Now, playing it at 110 standard, I don't see that as valuable whatsoever. And I know some people might disagree with me and saying like, hey, look, man, you could set this up as like a really good range turret. 12 attack, 4 damage, couple of Henrys behind him, entertaining him with the futuristic tech, and he's blasting for, 6 or 7. And I understand that. But I just don't feel that it's viable. I don't feel that it's solid. And so when I'm forced to, adjust expectations accordingly, I realistically have to say, look, don't fall into the hype train on this and thinking that he's going to win you games and that he's the one man army, we deserve and that can save the Shire. Like, no, man, that's not true whatsoever. And so that's where I really want us to understand is that as much as we may want this figure to be the old new big bad, to scare people and to be like the noob canon, I don't think it's there. I don't think that it has all the elements that a good figure needs at both point values just to dominate. Now I understand you roll a 3 or a 4, you take the tokens off, and that's really good. And you can roll and a 1 and 6, and then you're immune to outwit. But I would also say it would be better is if you rolled a d6 and then you get to pick one that happens. Like you roll a 4, 5, or 6, pick one of the following. And I think then we might have actually had something. Because then we could have had that perpetual motion machine Superman that just constantly just takes tokens off. Or 50% chance of being immune to outwit going into the future meta. He would have been strong at 230 and you would have justified the points for him. But other than that, I really can't see why you're going to play Superman. Now, let's look really quick at the fast forces. Batman, no. Like there's just no reason to use him unless you're rocking him at 50 points. And even then, it's a very strict filler of why you're bringing him at 50 points. You need like the Justice League keyword or the detective keyword, or you just need a Batman. And yeah, so it's not the greatest. Superman, if you're new to the game, you're most likely not listening to this podcast. But if you are, congratulations, you stumbled on a treasure trove of information. Go listen to some back shows. But going on, Superman doesn't really offer us anything that's noteworthy at both 100 or 50. Wonder Woman, same thing. There's really not much she offers at 100 or 50. And I know some people would say, like, look, man, she gets charged flurry at 100 points. And I'm like, yeah, at 100 for 10 more points, I can get BVS Wonder Woman that does the same thing with a better attack value. Then you have, like I said, the 50-point version. I really don't feel it's that good. Then you come to Green Lantern. And Green Lantern is outside of the map, Green Lantern is the reason why you buy this. Now, I know some of you like, what? Hold up, wait. What was he about to pull out his hat now? What is Dark Logo's going to pull out of his hat now? But let's functionally look at it. First off, at 100 points, I'm not even going to try to come close to justifying it because he doesn't pull 100 points worth of weight. But at 50 points, he pulls more than 50 points worth of weight. 4 clicks of health, like all the rest of them. He has sidestep, willpower, and range combat expert with a 6 range in the GL team ability. Not the best candidate for your, hey man, I'm about to Kamehameha wave you from, 9 squares away. But, him and a couple of shield agents with enhancement, he could be decent. Having sidestep and not running shot really works well with range combat expert, giving him like an 8 square reach on the down low. Not only that, with the Green Lantern team ability, he could do that sidestep creep, bringing up your team. Not having phasing is fine, because if you want 55, if you want 55-point phaser Green Lantern, you can get that in the common real easily. That's not a problem. This guy is coming in saying, like, look, I'm 5 points less. I don't move as far. I'm a little bit more experienced. I got to take my vitamins in the morning if I'm going to do the superhero thing. Put the little shot to my knee, but don't get it twisted. I can still bust a cap upside a villain's butt. And he can. And then that's the part that I really like about this, is that he is a support that also can attack, and that if your opponent does slightly tag him, he turns into an 18 defense with barrier, and he starts caging fools. If he only, takes one or two clicks of damage, he starts caging fools and perplexing. So I like it. I think this is the main figure that you pull out of this Fast Forces. Now, is it worth, the full retail value? Not really. I don't think so, but I do think it's good. Then we have the Flash. At 100 points, nope. At 50 points, no. Unless you don't have a wider range of problems. Or you're looking for your prop to attack. But at the damage output and the movement, no. It's not worth it. Now we have Cyborg. And I'm going to say something I haven't said this entire time. He's worth the points. Let that sink in for a bit. He is worth the points. First off, let's look at why. He has Energy Explosion with 2 targets. He has Psychic Blast, an 11 attack, with a 6 range. Now, 6 range isn't freaking, magically delicious anymore. It's not even Golden Grams delicious like you'll eat it if your grandmother gives it to you. But it is above average. Okay, 3 damage is average, but he has enhancement, which allows him to work in very good synergy with a lot of teams, Justice League or otherwise. He's 7 clicks deep, which makes him very hard to kill. And I know some of you were saying, but Dark Logos, they're all 7 clicks deep. I understand that. But in particular, I like it with this one, with Cyborg, is that you're getting a good mix. Okay? You're getting some energy shield deflection. You're getting some toughness. All right? So I like that. You're also getting enhancement or outwit minus his last click, which he has regen. And so functionally, the entire time, he is your support / backup. At 50 points, I feel that he is more than enough points worth the investment. Again, as a secondary attacker backup. Now, here's the thing that I really want to emphasize. Don't sleep on how that Justice League team ability applies to your whole entire situation. He can get into position and it not count against your action total. So when it comes to that support element, he's really there. Now, what would have put him over the top if he had Endom? And I don't think any of these characters have Endom. No, none of these characters have Endom. So I feel really bad that he doesn't, but I feel Cyborg is probably the nice little sleeper in that fast forces. I also feel he provides a nice amount of value. Last but not least, let's talk about Skyscraper Wonder Woman. Skyscraper Wonder Woman at 350 is okay. At 225, I can understand you playing her, but I wouldn't play her over several other key figures, even with the hypersonic speed. So yeah, and then coming in at 100, I'll say this, and I really do mean this. If Skyscraper Wonder Woman started with the Invuln and then went into combat reflexes, I would say this is a must-play 100 points. Don't just look at her as a Colossal Retaliation. But because she doesn't, I have to say you're going to need to overlook her at 100 points unless you have another way of giving her damage reduction. Because the way the character is designed, she's supposed to be up in your face. And if you're starting her at 100 points, then you need to find a way of surviving getting bombarded. Now, I do like the fact that she just busts through walls like the Kool-Aid Man, but other than that, I don't see much value for her at her higher points. Now, when we get to the Colossal Retaliation, the Colossal Retaliation is great. The main issue I look at her Colossal Retaliation, just a 10 attack, but if you like Sinestro and I have hype Sinestro, then yeah, I think you can definitely run with Wonder Woman. She provides a good amount of control, and I feel that's more than realistic to look at her as a functional piece. So that's the entire set. Overall, what I really want to say is this. This set is a birthday cake at a party you don't want to go to. I know I said what if was a poo emoji with a cherry on top. But this is really a birthday cake at a party you don't really want to go to. And I know that that sounds a little weird when I say it like that, but understand what I mean. It's easy to get what you want out of this set because a majority of the good figures are commons and uncommons. And that's what this game needed. This game needed a hard injection, freaking cancer level, stage 5 cancer. We got this new gene therapy treatment, level access type stuff. Because as long as the meta is balanced around super rares and chases, it's going to highly isolate players. And when you don't have access, if your common stuff doesn't work into a bigger tactic, or let alone provides the foundation for you to play, like every other game, the game's bound for failure. And this is the best thing that I've seen in a long time. That there are some commons better than uncommons, and even better than some rares. I would rather have a Justice Rider Wonder Woman over the Ray. I would rather have a Justice Rider Kid Flash over number 27 Superman. Okay, and he's rare. And so when I start looking at some of these figures, I get happy. I get really happy because it lets me know that there's a nice foundation of characters for a player to come in, get real easily, and do a lot of things and actually pose a threat to a veteran player. Where I want to step back is at the higher rarity, there really aren't many figures that are good. Flying Batman is not that good. Colonel Wayne is okay. Sergeant Kent, I want him to be better than what he is, but he's okay. Al Jordan, he's nowhere near a Goblin King. Sinestro, amusing. I'll admit that. I like him. He's amusing. He's not going to show up on any teams. At 80 points, maybe to help a Batman enemy out somewhere. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Green Lantern Resurrection Power, yeah. Maybe. Leatherwing? No, not on anything serious. Pop out the Robin Redblade, no. It gives value. I'll say this. Leatherwing gives value to the Batman ID card so that you can pop out Robin Leatherwing. And I think you couldn't even do that. Yeah, at the beginning of the game, adjacent. Yeah, you have to do it at the beginning of the game. So you couldn't even do that. So never mind. King Aquaman, maybe if you're looking for something boss for your Aquaman ID card. But even then, I can think of better ID cards unless you really need the inspiration. Elijah Snow is the only game changer, and that's really not that hard of a game changer. And again, that's only in a skilled player's hand that knows how to sort of know specifically when to pinpoint strike, kung fu master a dude in the throat and be like, all right, he stuns, reset the footwork, let's go into this, kick to the abdomen, follow up with the elbow to the nose, and then freaking, full chi punch the sternum, like go for the death blow, type stuff. But again, he requires a master to play, and most masters won't look at him as a figure until his utility becomes clearer. Like there becomes a character on turn 1, turn 2 that has to do X action that is dominating the meta. And if it checks any one of his boxes, he's like, nope, I'm going to punish you for that. Nope, you can't do that and I'm going to punish you for that. Oh, 2 tokens. Okay, now I'm setting you up to die. Like once we understand that, then Elijah Snow has a place. Once you see him as a very good, solid support, secondary attacker, he has a place. Unfortunately, as barrier from a main tactic, no, it's gone. Like let's not pretend that barrier is a good main tactic. because it's not. Because of the Spider-Man ID card, and if the Spider-Man ID card didn't exist, I tell you what, people would be playing Cosmic Spider-Man Standard, and you would see a lot more of that. Not ridiculous amounts, but you would see more. Okay? He would be constantly teamed up with his good buddy Jakeem Thunder. So, I gotta say, like, again, this is like a birthday cake at a party you don't want to go to. You're going to eat the cake, but man, you know, you just don't like being there. Okay? And you can focus on the cake. And that's it. And that's the best part about, I feel about this set, is that you don't have to go broke. You don't. All these super rares, I'm going to say it. All the super rares, you wait too much, you can get them all for like $15. Like every last one of these suckers, $15. I don't see any of these coming up and changing anything major unless you can figure out how to make Green Lantern super rare game breaking. So, you know, hey, you probably could. You have a character who has a last dial click power that allows them to freaking kamikaze and do 4 damage to every opposing character on the field, and then you come back and you freaking res that sucker and say, no, you know, you're not done yet, and then have them do it again, then yeah, she's going to be broke. She's going to be broke because she would be able to institute a death upon completion action twice in the game. But until we find some character like that where it's worth it, she's going to sit on the sideline, at least in modern age. Alright, that's it for today's show. Thank you for listening. Normally I break all this stuff up, and hopefully I can export this out of Audacity to actually make something. I got my computer sort of up and functioning, but I'm still missing some key files, but that's alright. I'm going to be able to find them here in the next few weeks. I am going to a specific rock states this weekend and next weekend, so I'm trying to record during the week and in between getting stuff together. So thank you all for listening, and remember, we all have to start over sometime.